Hi, everyone. Here I am back with another mini episode of The Practiced Life. And just remember, what I mean by that is we're all practicing something as we go through our days. We're practicing grousing, we're practicing grumpiness, we're practicing distracted driving, distracted email. We're moving through our lives in an unconscious way for the most part. And for those of us who want to do the personal growth work and want to feel the expansion, one of the easiest ways to kind of flip the direction in which you're going is to begin to consciously choose your practices. You're doing them anyway, but this time you're practicing consciously with intention. So the practice life is really, I think, next level living. And it really helps you move out of those old patterns. So today's episode I'm calling The Magic of Maybe. Oh, this came to me after a long time. And as I began to realize that I was always a pretty optimistic person and positive and we can do it. But I could see as the years wore on and life experience continued to accumulate without really processing everything, without consciously choosing my practices so I could override old patterns. What I could see is that aging brings with it some hazards. And by that, I mean they're like energy hazards. Like you might become a little bit more skeptical. You might become a little bit more cynical. Because in this human experience, there are going to be disappointments. There are going to be heartbreaks. There are going to be betrayals. And a lot of times we just sit and stew in that energy for years. And when we do that, we develop kind of like this crusty barrier, this crusty layer over our field, which is cynicism, which is skepticism. And I find that to be that the energy of those two things to be so aging. And I think the generations that came before us who didn't have access to the conversations about spirituality and expansion and the quantum field, I think it was very easy just to kind of let the sands run out of the hourglass and in an era, in an atmosphere of skepticism and cynicism, that life didn't turn out that great for me, and I didn't really know how to change it, and I just wasn't lucky. So for me, the best anti-energy aging tool that I have found in the last few years is the magic of the word maybe. Once I started saying maybe to things, like things that I had were hard no's for me for a long time. Hard no, hard no, hard no. But once I softened into a maybe, it was very interesting to see how much more alive my experience became. Just by saying maybe, I still allowed a pathway for the universe to deliver new experiences, opportunities, and instead of instantly dismissing it like, I'm too old, that's going to be too much work, that's going to be too much trouble, I would just kind of sit and sink into the energy of maybe, maybe, maybe. And it just allowed me to consider things from a new light. Not from my old patterns, not from my well-worn neural pathways, just from a new perspective. And that has yielded, if I could tell you what that has yielded in my life, how interesting my life has become, how stunning to my own self my life has become, the experiences I've gotten to have, the new things I've called into my life. Has been really, really quite amazing. And the perfect example is my horse, Steve Dash. I'm telling you, not a horse person. I'm an animal person, so I loved them from afar. But I didn't grow up with horses. I didn't grow up, no, I mean, they're big and they're scary. And I think I had a pony ride when I was in eighth grade. I might have gone on some trail riding here and there, but, with horses that are trained to stay on the path. So when the synchronistic divine, the divine intervention came in the way of someone you may know, Dr. Anna Kabeka, the girlfriend doctor, world famous, and a friend of mine, when she knew that I was moving and she knew where I was moving to had a stable, she said, well, I think you should buy our horse, Steve. And, you know, ordinarily that just would have been a hard no. I have two dogs. I'm busy. I got lots going on, and I'm not a horse person. I'm not an equestrian. And but I said maybe. I just went maybe, maybe. Then I was like, send me a picture. And when the picture of him came and my maybe hadn't dismissed the idea out of hand, I was like, oh, this is just inviting in more love, just another heartbeat, a whole new world of experiences. And I'm not going to be riding in competition or anything. And who knows, maybe I'll never ride. But here is a sentient being who likely, and I felt this at the time, has some real multidimensional healing energy, and he needs a new family. And my maybe became a possibly, became a yes. Yes, I will adopt Steve. I will become his steward. I will become his companion. And that was, about 18 months ago. And it has brought so much joy and newness. I mean, my neural pathways are popping with all the new things I'm learning, what my experience is. I'm outside all the time. I'm at the barn every day. I don't really like to muck the stalls, but I will. I love to feed him every day. We do groundwork together. I learn how to let him guide me in learning more about horses. It's been spectacular, but I promise you would not have been possible without my commitment to maybe. So I share that with you to say this. Reserve your hard nose for serious, serious things that are about your values. Introduce the magic of maybe into everything else. Maybe you'll scuba dive. Maybe you'll go snorkeling. Maybe you'll learn to ice skate. Maybe you'll learn how to do a new thing, a new language. Maybe you'll travel to another country. That maybe really, it's like setting an intention with the universe to dazzle you, to surprise you, to bring new, interesting things into your life. And I want to say this, it is good for your brain health. And it really is powerful medicine for the kind of thinking that normally ages us so dramatically. I feel like I'm getting younger, and I feel like my brain is popping with learning a new language, a horse language. I also said maybe to Mahjong, and I'm doing that now too, because I'm just not going to say a hard no to things that are put before me that could bring some delight into my life. And the more I do that, the more delightful my life gets. So join me with the magic of maybe. And if you want to bring more conscious practices into your life, go to sherrysalata.com/free network. You do a little ippity-doo sign-up thing. It's free. It's the free front porch of my bigger, more elaborate network. But I put good stuff in the free front porch. There's a beautiful morning magic practice that you can download and start using right away to make your mornings more intentional. You'll have early access to this podcast, The Practice Life, and other stuff. We do free events on occasion, and there's lots of good stuff in there, plus a community. I called in my private membership this month, I named the theme, Find Your People. And by that I mean, now more than ever, we need to be able to connect with people who are interested in having the conversation about personal expansion, about quantum magic, about really magnetizing the next version of ourselves and our lives right to our door. That is really the only conversation I want to have. And it has altered my life in such dramatic, powerful ways. I'd love to share it with you. I'll see you next time for another episode of The Practice Life. Thanks for listening.